term woke because I hear woke. You know, it's like just a term that use half the people can't even define it. They don't know what it is.
It was, if anything, it was entertaining. I always found it entertaining.
Exactly. It's not so entertaining now that it all came true.
No.
Uh-oh, I waited too long to piss. It's already started. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. Sorry about this.
Now everybody knows your name is Matt.
Do you always dox your former customers like this?
When they're not my customers anymore, I no longer care.
God, that's grace.
And I think it did a damn good job for being what it needed to be for Star Wars. I love The Last Jedi. I love The Last Jedi.
Grifting is stupid.
Truth is out.
Not to sound like a dick, but I just don't care. I mean, there's 400 people watching this stream. If one of them knows my name now that didn't know it before, it's a success for me. At the end of the day, I have tried to build Geeks and Gamers by doing it the structured way, the methodical way, the think it out, prep it, you know, take notes, you know, think about everything you're going to say, and it fucking failed miserably on me. The day that I started doing what I'm doing right now, which is what you're, you know, having a problem with, is the day that I started becoming successful.
This guy is a grifter.
The reason you aren't taken seriously is because of your behavior in situations that pertain to Star Wars from top to bottom. Now look, I don't love everything Star Wars. I'm not a big fan of Rebels. I didn't like Rogue One that much. But do I constantly whine and bitch and complain about it?
But of course, Diego Luna has the diversity aspect.
No! I don't, like, cool, there's people that love Rebels, and there's people that love Rogue One, and that's awesome. That is continuing to enhance the universe and bring more people into the fold.
The flashback scenes are so stupid.
I don't love everything Star Wars, but if I don't like it, I complain about it for like a few days, and then I just move on with my fucking life.
And they're pushing identity politics with this. They 100% are.
You can't keep getting away with it!
I don't understand this need to continue to bitch and whine and moan.
This is the only reason Diego Luna is the lead character of this series, because they're trying to push their diversity bullshit.
Bitch and whine and moan. You can't keep getting away with it!
Now the Fandom Menace manufactures content for clickbait. Before Rings of Power, House of the Dragon is woke. It hates white people and men, will fail, etc. Racist, sexist, clickbait. So right here, woke disaster. Showrunner race-swapped characters because there's too many white people, which is not what was said, but, you know. House of the Dragon hates men. And then, you know, the quartering with his lowest common denominator of these guys, which is pretty fucking sad. They're all really lowest common denominator, but the quartering is just the laziest. Woke trash incoming.
These guys are hanging out in the anti-woke house. This quartering is pissing in that basement of that house, basically.
Yep. So then after Rings of Power, which, you know, of course, is way more of a woke gold mine for them, right? Like and credit where it's due, I guess, but like they're good at this as far as knowing what the thing is they should lean into, right? After Rings of Power debuted, which is like a week or two after, I guess, House of the Dragon, and obviously these are two mega popular shows that are going to be talked about in the discourse and in, most importantly to these guys, in the trending tab, in the algorithms. And by changing their opinions and changing the thing that they're for to be, you know, or against to being for it against the other thing, now they can have both of them in their titles. They can have both of them in their thumbnails. They can have them both in their in their keywords, so in the algorithm. And then they also get the conflict that they need, that they thrive on, right? They have to have conflict. They must. And so it became House of the Dragon destroys Rings of Power. And then they're praising House of the Dragon. No more mention of House of the Dragon being woke. No more mention of any of this stuff up here just a couple of weeks or a month before. No, now it's like they just got wrecked. Rings of Power ratings are terrible. Amazon gets just right. It's not true. But Amazon gets destroyed by House of the Dragon. And then here the quartering. Look, these are all the same guys too. I'm not just like showing you random examples. So these are the exact same dudes. House of the Dragon destroys Rings of Power in the ratings by the quartering. Then Ryan Kennel tweeting how he liked it. And I'll admit, he did say here, he really thought he was going to hate the series, but he's loving it so far. And then, yeah, so that's actually rare praise. But let's think about the fact that would he have said that if he wasn't trying to shit on Lord of the Rings?
Exactly. Would he have said that if Lord of the Rings didn't exist at this point? Probably not.
Yeah. Nerdrotic had responded, best episode so far. Here's a Geeks and Gamers title. Woke disaster for Amazon, destroyed by House of the Dragon. It's crazy, man. The main thing that I think is important is it's not like people aren't allowed to change their minds, right? Like if you think something's going to be bad and then it's not, and you're like, oh, shit, I was wrong. Like Ryan Kennel says there, but do you think that they go back and I don't know, hide those videos where they talked black people existing, in House of the Dragon? No, they don't change any of that. All that content is still fucking up in theory forever. It's still out there poisoning fucking people's brains with sexism and racism and every other ism, right? And it would be one thing if they were like, okay, you know what? I thought it was going to be woke and terrible, but it's not. Let me, I don't know, private those videos, unlist them, because that's the responsible thing to do. But I mean, they can't possibly do that because they're going to get ad revenue from those in perpetuity.
The reason people in the West are starting to draw more and more towards Korean or Japanese filmmaking, it's precisely because it's a bit different from what we get.
Yeah, what is the most recent Japanese film, or at least entertainment, that you enjoyed so far?
So he asked him, what is the most recent Japanese film that he's enjoyed? Because he just said everybody's in America, they're flocking to Japanese and Korean movies, right? Because American movies are so woke and bad. All right, give us, the most recent Japanese movie that you thought was so much better than American films.
What am I thinking of? See, a lot of them would be older ones, like Old Boy, for example. I really enjoyed that one. I know it's not Japanese, but yeah, probably stuff like that. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, I really like that. I know it's like Chinese, I think. But yeah,
it's just sad, man. I really wish that Eric July would just have the confidence in his character, in the Rippaverse, to just sell it, man. Just sell it on its own merits. Why do you have to disparage other shit to boost yourself?
You have a million spider folk, which doesn't even make sense when you consider Peter's origin.
I define everybody that's not Peter Parker as an unoriginal Peter Parker.
Talking about Peter Darker.
Fun fact. Eric used to like the character, even saying he's more than just a black Peter Parker. But he changed his tune when he found out he could make more money pandering to racist comic book fans who hate Miles Morales.
You're just actively making shit up, ha ha ha.
Did you used to like him? Not judging or whatever. Just curious.
No.
You sure about that?
Do you like Miles Morales then?
No.
You sure about that?
Yeah, some characters have been written decently that are of different races and have suited up in the suit of a hero or a version of that hero. One of the more obvious is Miles Morales as Spider-Man.
You're just actively making shit up, ha ha ha.
Miles Morales has his own background. This is far better than just simply making Peter Parker a black guy.
Talking about Peter Darker.
But Miles is an exception, make no mistake.
I define everybody that's not Peter Parker as an unoriginal Peter Parker.
And it will always be preferable to have another character with his own unique skill set, unique art. This is far better than just simply making Peter Parker a black guy.
I don't understand it.
Why is he doing what he's doing?
As far as what? Give me a specific
anything. Give me pick your own example and give it to me.
I'm not giving you anything.
Give me an example.
I'll tell you what. If you
I'll give you an example. You've read Amazing Fantasy number 15, right?
Let's talk about. Go back to ISOM. What about it? Are you asking? What specific?
Wait. You've read Amazing Fantasy number 15, right?
What specific action are you asking? Pretending? No. I'm gonna get stuck on this one. You've read Amazing Fantasy number 15, right? Are you what? Let's talk about ISOM. You just asked me a question. Let's quit moving and go. There are plenty of people that don't know who Spider-Man is, dipshit.
Suffering Steve Ditko! How can you not know that Spider-Man first appeared in 1962's classic Amazing Fantasy number 50?
Stupidity is when you speak on things aggressively and you knowingly are ignorant on it. When they continue to do this goofy stuff because they're out of ideas and they're hiring people that probably shouldn't be in these positions.
So he says they're hiring people that shouldn't be in these positions at all. Let's take a look at that.
Stupidity is when you speak on things aggressively and you knowingly are ignorant on it.
Legacy characters are a comic book tradition.
New legacy character? What do you mean new legacy character? Are you talking about knockoff versions? Is that what you're referring to?
Okay, so you understand what a legacy character is, right?
Yes, I'm asking you for clarification. Can you answer what the question I just had?
Well, I'm trying to understand how you are asking what a legacy character is. A legacy character is simply a character.
Saying, what do you mean by new legacy character? If they're a legacy character, they wouldn't be new.
Stupidity is when you speak on things aggressively and you knowingly are ignorant on it.
No, legacy characters are characters that carry on the legacy. You understand that, right?
Yes, I understand that, but if it's a legacy character, the character itself has been there and it's ingrained in comic books, as you just said. So what do you mean?
Stupidity is when you speak on things aggressively.
Because there are new characters created to add on to the legacy. Please don't tell me you're this dumb.
And you knowingly are ignorant on it.
First he says she does appear ancient. Then later, I know she's older than what she appears. Like, what the how do you know any of this? How do you know?
I mean, does the artwork supposed to show that she looks ancient? Because I was guessing 25, 35.
It's like if Nick Fury got like head trauma or something. He's like trying to be, like, okay, here's what I know about the Avengers. Captain America he do stuff with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Usually multi-million-dollar companies have somebody to proofread shit before they print it.
This is like a first draft,
Yeah,
like, this is what I write when like I'm just like doing something, and in my mind I like think of like, oh, that would be a cool idea for like a comic store or something, and then I just like write a quick paragraph or something, then leave it.
It's post-it note shit is what it is.
Exactly.
Right, here's a good way to start.
Somebody should point this out to Eric July. If you want to compete with Marvel and DC, the first step is to get a book out every month. Oh wait, I have pointed that out to him. Never mind.
Even if you don't have them, like if not even multi-million-dollar, like any indie comic creator that like cares about he's putting in people's hands and he really wants readers to fucking connect with it, would get a friend to look it over or something. And if you did have friends look this over, then goddamn, you got some bad friends, and they were the wrong friends to show it to.
If she has a constant whirlwind that surrounds her, how could you make out the icicles that seem to grow from her pores?
Well, see, they only seem to.
The deceptive narrative is DC is making Poison Ivy a fat lesbian, implying the character is forever ruined by SJWs or wokeness. Actual context. The story is from Catwoman Lonely City, which is disconnected from the main continuity of the DC universe. Catwoman Lonely City is not canon, does not affect the established lore or the aesthetic of Poison Ivy or any other character. This is colloquially called an Elseworld story from the now defunct line of DC comics that exist in alternate realities using characters and concepts we're familiar with. Basically, DC's version of What If.
Ponder the question, what if?
Previously.
Now you have a million spider folk, which doesn't even make sense when you consider Peter's origin.
Dude, it's a multiverse.
I don't understand it.
Ponder the question, what if?
Fuck them hoe ass roads.
Ponder the question, what if?
I don't understand. How many times? You think we ain't felt all the things? How many times? We said we oppose taxation. What about the roads? How many times? What about the roads?
So this is him talking about the shipments arriving for his comic. And somebody pointed out, like, that's a stock photo, and I found the article where this photo is from. It just colored yellow for some reason. And
he likes yellow and green, apparently.
I literally found the fucking photo and tweeted about it, and I was like, dude, why would you, post this and act like, it's real? And he ends up saying, well, it's for the thumbnail. Lots of people, like, okay, yeah, people use fake images for thumbnails, but when your whole narrative is that you are competing with Marvel and DC, you're giving them a run for their money, and then you present yourself as having this giant fucking enormous warehouse when really you probably got a fucking storage shed with, you know what I mean? Like, nah, dude, that's a grift. It's a fucking grift. There's no reason to do that except you're trying to create, an image you don't really have. And apparently I heard that he stored his comics in like Rubbermaid totes, which are not made to hold comics. So they're like kind of shifting all over each other. And the
corners getting destroyed.
Yep.
Okay, let's use an actual example. What do you think of the new rumors that the next Superman might be a black actor?
I'm not a fan.
Why?
Because Superman is not black.
Superman's not human.
Yes, he is. He actually is a humanoid. He's just not from Earth. Stupidity is when you speak on things aggressively.
I guess you could say I'm arguing on behalf of the people that because I easily I can say, oh, they're just racist white people, they don't want to see a black woman. But in their defense, it's like, hey, my daughter was going to see this. She was excited to see, the little white mermaid.
I have a kid, and my kid was a huge fan, probably still is. I haven't talked in a while about it, but like of the Little Mermaid, the original one. And if I found out that my kid saw this trailer and goes, I don't want to see this anymore because she's not white like I'm used to, I would feel like a failure as a fucking parent.
Fatality.
I would be fucking ashamed of myself.
It's what we teach our kids from the very beginning. Don't judge a book by its cover. It's not about the color of the skin. It's about the character. It's about the character inside. It's who you are inside. It doesn't matter how you look outside. We've been trying to teach kids this for who knows how long, and now like people are against this.
You win. Perfect.
A lot of people clash with Jeremy over a lot of fucking things, so it's not an echo chamber, like, because we fight constantly about like movies, games, and what we think is the best, and Zack Snyder's movies are one of them. There's a big division in G&G. Like, a lot of people love these movies. Jeremy fucking hates them. So
we need. There's a big elephant in the room with that, though, isn't there? There's a big ass elephant in the room when it comes to Zack Snyder and Geeks and Gamers.
On our donation page, we still have the Geeks and Gamers logo. I just want to say that I really, we talked about this, and we're really not affiliated with Geeks and Gamers as far as I'm concerned, and I really just want to make that clear. And I also want to just say, in light of recent events, I think we really, if Justice League teaches us anything, it's about coming together, and there's no room for hate. And I just think that it's important. It's an important message. And of course, as the father of the Asian children, it really hits close to home for me. And I just really want to put that out there that we all, there's no room for hate.
Am I right?
Oh, we want to go there. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I can understand why there would be divided because here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Hey, what's going on?
It's not quite true that what he said. It was the way he framed it, because he was talking about a PR statement that he obviously Warner Brothers wanted him to put out.
You know, as the father of Asian children, it really hits close to home.
About that Asian hate thing, because that event just happened where a bunch of that massage parlor happened, and he wanted to. No, well, look at what happened right after with what's his name? Was it it wasn't Patton Oswalt? What is his name? The guy that went on after. I've got a video about it. They said the exact same thing.
You know, as the father of Asian children, it really hits close to home.
Thank you for this opportunity. I think you have a really great YouTube channel. The production quality is really good, even though I really don't agree with a whole lot that you say. Congratulations on 5K subs. That's exciting. I want to clarify, when I say that I'm part of the Fandom menace, I basically just kind of saw that as the best way to describe like the conglomerate of YouTube channels basically that appear on Friday Night Tights, like Geeks and Gamers, Nerdrotic, Young Ripa, Heel versus Babyface, because technically Jeremy has disavowed the Geeks and Game. Jeremy has disavowed the Fandom menace publicly. So I understand like there's that controversy there, but I still just thought is like the best way to describe, you know, the overall group of YouTube channels. And now I am technically a member of the Geeks and Gamers team, but my opinions are my own. I do not claim to come here and represent like the official opinion of Geeks and Gamers or represent anybody else's opinion or anything like that.
Just you mentioned something that kind of threw me off, is like Jeremy has disavowed the Fandom menace, but he's still in the same circle of people, right? They're still all on Friday Night Tights together. He's still saying the same stuff about Star Wars and, you know, Marvel and everything that the Fandom menace, like, so what is really the practical purpose of disavowing the Fandom menace if like nothing is actually changing about what he's doing?
Oh, the reason that he gives is that apparently he saw too much like extremism within like the Fandom menace among like things that fans were saying, and he didn't want to be like held responsible for any of that. He said, I'll be responsible for Geeks and Gamers, but not that. And so I guess he maybe saw it as too much to keep up with, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of see that. I don't know. I'm more of the mind that if I was part of something that I was like suddenly like, wow, this is getting kind of you know, more hostile and harmful than I really care for, rather than just go, I don't claim this label anymore. I would completely disconnect from the people that are associated with that label, because otherwise it would just seem kind of hollow to me. But that's just me. Like a lot of people making the claim that they're attacking the fans. And it's like, if you're not one of those people, they're not attacking you. So that's another example of like that kind of cynical, we're just going to blow it out of proportion and say that Star Wars is attacking the fans when, wait, but you're not being racist. So why are you being defensive about the fans? There's never a point where Star Wars said the entire fandom is racist. You're all racists, right? So like, do you see what I'm saying? What's the point of all this?
They didn't. True. Yeah, they definitely didn't say all fans are racist. I haven't seen anybody make that claim.
Do it.
Here I go killing again.
And I think one of the major points that he brought up was the Ghostbusters 2016 film.
Yeah,
was
like
kind of like yeah, it was kind of like the tipping point for where we were like, oh, companies are just going more for like
Ryan's taking a back seat.
The wokeness and stuff like that. Like that was his opinion on it. Do you agree with that? Like the quality of films have gone down since then, or do you think they are still like doing about the same as they were before.
It's honestly about the same. It's not any big difference. Ghostbusters 2016 was one of these meh movies that I find a lot of people like Critical Drinker and I don't know if Neurotic's done anything on Ghostbusters 2016. I'd be shocked. But a lot of these guys just whinge over it like
Almost
incessantly.
yeah.
And the movie came out like, what, 6 years ago? And yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see
I can
how that's
see
a
why,
reflection
though.
of
I have an opinion on that. What I think happened with Ghostbusters 2016 is a certain, like, yeah, there was definitely a shift that happened with that movie. And just, you know, right out the gate, I think it sucks. I hate that fucking movie. Like, I couldn't get through it. But
yeah,
I don't think the shift was in the film industry as much as, I mean, yes, there's been a shift in the film industry, but I think that what you just described, as far as like what Drinker described, is really a shift also in YouTube film commentary, which started focusing on this word woke as, you know, something to put into the algorithm, and it goes in the algorithm, it goes into titles, and people click on it because it means whatever whoever's reading it or hearing it wants it to mean.
Hasta la vista.
Nuance and context.
Well, then we should define the term right now. That way there's no more confusion going on.
Absolutely, we should.
What does woke mean to you?
I don't think it means anything. What does it mean to you guys?
Well,
they're talking about racist Star Wars
Yeah,
fans.
they're-
Not just, these things aren't mutually exclusive, dude. There are people who call themselves Star Wars fans who are racist. And that's who they were talking to. The ones who were saying that shit to Moses Ingram.
Okay.
It's not that hard a concept. It really is mind-boggling to me that you guys seem to just fall over yourselves to misunderstand this shit.
Are you 100% sure that every single tweet that she got, or DM or whatever, was purely racist?
No, but she
No,
definitely got
they didn't say
racist
that.
ones.
You see how you're moving the goalposts just like all over the fucking place.
This video contains adult content not suitable for children.
Dude.
That's what the story was. That
No,
was
it
the
wasn't.
basis.
They never said that. They did not say 100% of the fucking messages were like, stop making up criteria that don't matter, dude.
That's how it got spun, though. That's my point.
Because she did get racist messages. She absolutely did.
It didn't get spun that way. It got blown up in that fucking echo chamber of the fandom menace and whatnot, where they're acting like that's what was said, when it really all that was said was literally right there in the tweet, and you can read it. And, you know, if you want to misinterpret it and blow it out of proportion and take it personally for some reason, that says a lot more about you than it does about Star Wars.
What does it say about me?
I don't know. That you're insecure about something, that, you know, that you don't know how to read very well, that your comprehension sucks. I'm not sure.
God damn!
Okay, what's more racist, calling somebody a nick or doing a lynching?
I'm out. Why are you going to challenge me to a debate and not know? Like, they obviously wanted to talk to me about stuff, but then they didn't have any like research behind it, and then you're drunk.
Well, and I think we can answer that today, honestly. There's a lyric of a song that I really like, and it goes...
Is it coincidence that the craziest fools have the strongest belief that they're right?
Yeah, I mean, it's expressing the, you know, the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Kind of live a bit of a very walled off kind of existence when it comes to these type of things. But from what I've gathered from, you know, different pieces of media, YouTube responses, things like that.
So what he's gathered from YouTube.
How do I put this? Popular term for woke is raising perceived groups that are at a disadvantage to a higher level and promoting them more, i.e., you know, blacks, Asians, the other races,
blacks,
That is
Asians,
the way he's phrasing it. Yeah.
the gays, all that, and putting them on a plateau and making them the highlight of the conversation.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about? Where did this all go
All right, so moving on. Why is Jim so confident in all this? And you obviously see what the commonality is, right?
Yeah.
It's woke. The word woke is in all of these, whether or not they enjoyed it or not. They make sure to keep that word in there. And why is that? A lot of you probably are aware, but I think it's worth getting into a little bit of specifics and understanding this a little bit better, because of how the YouTube algorithm works. And this goes to speak to what Jim was saying in that clip, where he learned what he knows about wokeness from YouTube.
Kind of live a bit of a very walled off kind of existence when it comes to, blacks, Asians, the other races.
And I imagine that's where a lot of people did. But what's the problem with that? YouTube is not like, it's not a meritocracy. It's not like the best information is what gets seen the most. It's not the most popular information and content is always the most enlightened or informed content. Like me and Bob were talking beforehand about, we'll often get comments of somebody like, if you make a video about critical drinker or something, they'll go, oh, well, he's got 1 million subscribers and you don't, so that should tell you. But like, yeah, no, it does. It tells me that the algorithm is fucking weird. Well, Matthew, I mean, I agree in sentiment, but it is fixed. It's working the way it's supposed to in favor of YouTube and ads. That's the thing. That's why it won't get fixed, because it's not really broken to them. It's doing exactly what they want. It's only broken when it comes to the effect it has on, culture and society. Since 2015, YouTube's goals have purely been to help viewers find the kinds of content they want to watch, to increase long-term satisfaction. Of course, we're all subject to this disclaimer. We all live in this world to some degree, are watching obviously what we want to watch. That's obvious. But like, when the stuff that you want to watch doesn't actually kind of evoke any real critical thought, and it doesn't inform you very much, it just kind of repeats a message over and over again. The message. And it's just telling you, this is woke, everything's woke, woke is bad, look out for woke, wokey woke, 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 woke. Then you end up like fucking Jim the fucking casual, or his buddy, who admitted on stream eventually that like he doesn't watch any of the movies that we're talking about. He just watches YouTubers say it. And Jim admitted it too. He got all his, and you end up so confident. Your fucking head is full of this bullshit that like you think it's fucking legit. And you challenge people to a debate, and then you go on drunk and perform that way about it. And then we looked at his other comments. It wasn't a special occasion for Jim to be that stupid. That's a common thing for him. And it creates this Dunning-Kruger effect where I've been in 5 debates now, and I'll just say I've won them all. I don't want to be like, I've crushed them all, but I've won them all. I think anybody with a reasonable set of standards would watch those and see that I perform better than the other guy. And that's because of this. That's why I'm surprised that I'm fucking good at it, because I'm really not. I'm just like, I'm not good at debating, guys. I'm really not. It just, if you are committed to facts and understanding things on a critical level, people's shit falls apart.
Well, then we should define the term right now. That way there's no more confusion going on.
Absolutely, we should.
What does woke mean to you?
But you notice that moment when I said, I don't think it means anything. I don't believe woke means anything. What does it mean to you guys? What does it mean to you guys?
Well,
and they're both like, it like broke their brains for a second. And it's because of this. They have for years now been consuming this shit uncritically, unquestioningly. And then they see other people say it, and these other people are, and it feels good to be part of a community where you see other people saying the same thing you are, and they're liking yours and retweeting yours because you said it, and you never really challenge it. It becomes like, this is just a socially accepted thing. Ironically, this is the socially accepted thing on YouTube, especially, to think that woke is some fucking, imminent threat and it's affecting, poisoning everything, despite the fact that it's all very, very subjective, and nobody can fucking really give a coherent definition that doesn't immediately contradict something else that they wouldn't call woke or didn't call woke.
I said, Marsha, I don't know why you're doing what you're doing. but out of Darwin's memory, I am not going to fight back. If you feel the need, because she blamed me for that, and she tried to call a harassment army, the likes of which I have not experienced before or since, against me, saying that I was claiming her husband, her deceased husband, Darwin Cook, was Comicsgate. That was a lie.
Well,
I didn't say that. Mark, understand, you people lie. I did not say that. Billy did.
So have you ever said that he's Comicsgate?
No.
So you've never ever
I'm
said
not saying
he's
it
been
now.
Comicsgate?
No.
All right, this is interesting.
I don't
Here's a
think
tweet
so.
from you. Have fun scraping work in a dead industry that if you suck enough corporate dick, you'll be able to earn in a lifetime what I earned drawing frogs independently. By the way, Darwin Cook
Wait,
was
show it. Bring it up.
Yeah, guess what, Ethan?
What's that?
What you just did was called a lie.
You're a soy boy and you stand against it. You stand for woke. That's what you do. You stand for woke.
So
you think you stand against
offshoot.
bigots, but
I have to ask
I stand against bigots too. I stand against you then.
Because this soy shit's been so disproven and you love to use it.
It's a nice way of not calling you gay. You know, like in the old way of like people used to say,
let me ask
dude,
you
stop
this.
being
Is
so
gay an insult?
Yeah.
So, okay, so
it used to be.
explain
Now
me-
it isn't so much. It should
Okay,
be again.
So,
Yeah.
so calling somebody gay
Right.
should be an insult.
Because it didn't mean
That's what you're saying.
homosexual. It meant lame. So soy is a nice way of saying, instead of saying gay, because here's the problem. All right. And the problem is you're quite right. Like, listen, people don't want to insult homosexuals. They don't want to insult the LGBTQ community, but they still want to use the kind of word that means lame, the way gay used to, but it no longer does. So we call you soy, okay, which means kind of weak, femmy, like linguini spined. That's what it means. We call you
This is
soy
interesting.
boys.
I like
Pussies.
seeing your homophobia.
Yes,
a bit.
pussies. I just told you why it wasn't homophobia. Soy
And
is
then
about
you did homophobia, dude.
No, it isn't. It just isn't. You're lying again. You're
That's
not listening.
literally
You have
what you just
selective
defined it
hearing.
as.
You know, I'm being honest with you and forthright. I didn't do that. You are lying again.
Wow.
Real time, you're lying. Like you're not even waiting to go back and recut this in order to say
I
this.
don't have to recut
You're
this,
lying
Ethan.
real time. So soy is a nice way of saying
Fuck you, you fucking fat. Shut up.
Listen, people don't want to insult homosexuals. They don't want to insult the LGBTQ community, but they still want to use the kind of word that means lame. Listen, people don't want to insult homosexuals. They don't want to insult the LGBTQ community.
Oh, you're a pussy. Fuck you, you fucking faggot. Shut up.
In the old days, by that I mean the 90s, people used to say, stop being gay. They didn't mean homosexual. They meant lame.
You want to come on and talk about it, bud? We're about to end the stream, but if you want to come on and talk to me about why you think that you know my experience better than I do, and also how do you know that it was any more forced than anything else? Were there guns to anybody's head, or was it a team of people making a decision for a film, as happens with every other aspect of a film? And if you maybe missed the fucking brilliantly executed way that DJ just explained it, I don't know. You can come on and I can try and do. I'll probably do half as good a job.
People
But
that make comments like this have been conditioned. It's not. It's sad that we have to put up with it, but it's also a result of people that have been fed things. They've been consumers. That's it. They've been consumers their entire life, and they've never questioned the media that has been put in front of them. So when something else, like they've been fed pizza all their life, and one day someone at their table gets a hamburger, and they're like, "What? That's not food. What is that? That's forced. It was put at this table. It shouldn't be here." Because all of a sudden now their entire concept of what dinner is has been disrupted.
Oh, I don't know. I've actually been subscribed to you for a little bit. So I'll watch when you live stream here and there, but I don't know. Some of the stuff you were saying, I was just like, there's no pushback. Dude, echo chambers are so freaking boring.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a nothing statement, because like there are.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about even, dude, I find nothing more boring than talking to somebody that I just agree with everything about.
I mean, I
like
don't
family,
agree.
dude. I don't.
The people that I had on today, we don't all agree on everything.
I didn't catch the whole thing. I was just when I started.
You really just caught the tail end of me and another guy agreeing on a general topic and you know some of the details within, and yeah.
Well, yeah, that was a point that really kind of, it was funny to me because you had the natural, instinctual, and frankly rational reaction to.
Well, see, hold on. Is it natural? Is it instinctual, or is it rational? Because natural and instinctual,
all of the above.
I mean, rational does not mean instinctual.
Not necessarily, but it doesn't contradict either.
And you were right in the sense that I had the natural reaction to a dude who has had everything catered to me my entire life, and then suddenly was faced with something that was catered to someone else.
Is catering good or no?
I mean, it's subjective. I mean, it's good. I mean, yeah, if it's making people happy, it's making people feel, seen.
No, okay. I'll rephrase it. Is catering good storytelling?
It can be, yeah.
It is not.
That's a really vague statement, man. You're gonna need to substantiate that with like evidence.
Give me an example of when catering should take precedence over good storytelling.
Well, first of all, what does good storytelling mean?
A story that serves the purpose of the story itself, not just. I mean, left, right. So I don't care if you're pandering. If your point in throwing something into a thing is to pander, it's like I'm a Christian, but dude, I don't want freaking, someone to stop a movie. Like I'm enjoying this movie. It's well thought out. It's well written. The characters are well imagined, and everything's going on. And then you just stop in the middle of it to give the gospel. It's like, bro, you're just you're throwing.
Well, I mean, but what the thing is though, what you're assuming that everyone is noticing it the way that you are.
You noticed it.
You don't think. Wait, you don't think
you're politically on the other side of the aisle.
Hold on. You don't think that.
So we both noticed it.
You don't think that movies and stories are objective experiences, do you?
No, of course not.
Okay, well then, so that right there tells you that like not everyone is experiencing the same thing. We all bring our frame of reference. Mine being that I'm a when Endgame came out, pushing 40-year-old dude who had all my life read comics that the vast majority of them are about dudes, and then here's this moment when they intentionally decided, we've completed this fucking monumental run of films, and we do want to, as has been demanded by the audience, people that have been watching our movies anyway, but they still wanted to see, more women characters, which by the way, plenty of them existed already. They just hadn't made movies about them yet. They said, here's a statement. In the same way that they made a statement with, like I said, Captain America and the Hammer, they finally gave me that, which I'd been they edged me for years.
And that was another point I made in the chat, is that wasn't pandering, because that was something they'd held off doing for the entire run of all of the Marvel movies, even though we did want that as fans, right?
Well,
because
yeah.
that's
So
the battle
if
cry
we're
for the Avengers, it should have
what we
been,
can't do,
but it's like they just saved that up for that moment. That's not.
Well, let's
pandering.
hold on. Let's, before we can go any further, because it seems like the core issue here that we're going to have is this is good or bad storytelling, right? Mm-hmm. So you've told me what you don't think is good storytelling. Can you tell me what are the boxes that needed to be checked for good storytelling? And just saying that something that serves that doesn't tell us anything. That because it's subjective, man. It really is. Something that's a good story to you. I'm sure we disagree on quite a few, and probably agree on quite a few.
You can tick like the basic storytelling boxes of whether you want to use the hero's journey or you want to use Save the Cat or whatever, where you have a character that goes through a transformation that's an irreversible change in his life because of the experiences that he's dealt with, through the inciting incident in the beginning of the story, and then going through the debate of whether or not his new position is the viable one, and then ultimately takes it through the freaking third act where you have the resolution and all of that stuff. But it's like that's all just kind of structural storytelling stuff,
right? And it's also
No,
not that's
you
not
only
by
have
that's
so
not by
much.
any means the main type of structural storytelling either. So
I mean, it's well.
I mean, okay. So it typically is with like genre movies, you know, action adventure, but even still, not always.
I'm just. You asked me a question that's kind of a subjective question. I'm giving you kind of a broader answer that applies probably to 90% of the stories you read.
But
right?
but that doesn't say anything about quality. The things you're saying are about structure, and that like you can use those structures, and you can use the same formula that you think is whatever.
Okay, if you want a very simple answer, I don't want anything to take me out of the story.
So you don't want something that is subjectively particular to you going to make you notice it.
I don't want to be listening to Mozart and hear a record scratch in the middle. Do you like it when something just completely takes you out of the story? When you're like, you're so engrossed in this tale?
I can give you an example of an instance that is basically this. Dune, recent Dune film.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant.
Agreed.
There's one moment where I was completely taken out. And like I had to kind of pause and go, you know, kind of deal with my thoughts. And this is, you know, a good example, I think, because it doesn't have anything to do with the, you know, the social politics stuff that typically is being referenced here, but it still applies. So
not right now.
The scene with the Bene Gesserit old lady shows up with the box, and you know, he puts his hand in there, and you know, he says,
"What's in the box?"
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
What's in the box?
Oh no!
I immediately was thinking about Seven. I was immediately thinking about the movie Seven, and I started laughing, and I'm like, fuck. Because other than that, that movie, I was completely immersed in it, like completely. There's very few films that I've had such an immersive experience with Dune.
Yeah.
And then I was removed from it. The only time in the whole movie was that. But the reason is because my experience of having seen Seven a bunch of times, of me and my friends used to go, "What's in the box?" You know, like we had repeated that, and that was my experience, you know, subjectively. Now, if I'd never seen Seven, or if I saw it and didn't really remember that part or whatever, I would not have been taken out of the movie in that way. So my being, you know, taken out of the immersion was completely rooted in my very specific experience of not even just seeing the movie, but me and my friends making that, you know, quoting that line. Certain things stick out in different people's minds, and that's going to cause certain people to, you know, take notice of something more than others or less than others or whatever.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you.
But usually when someone says something is woke, the implication is that the story or the movie is embedding some kind of political message in it that you know, the person making the video finds, you know, distasteful or doesn't agree with.
Well,
so it's just okay.
That's an interesting thing, though.
Take issue with that?
Well, here's a question I have for you. What is then the political message behind She-Hulk?
So I think when people were saying She-Hulk was woke, it was the sense that it seemed to be an anti-male ideas within the show.
But would you consider that a valid criticism? Because there's plenty of positive male role models in that show.
Like who?
Like Daredevil, like Hulk, like Pug, her co-worker. There's plenty. Wong.
So I think Daredevil's the only one I can agree with you. Hulk.
How are the other ones
like a lot of people like
negatively?
really.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, like in the first episode, which I think is what turned a lot of people off. You know, they have the whole scene where, you know, Bruce Banner, who's had to deal with, you know, this being the Hulk for 10 years so far in this show and has to deal with all his anger issues and all this stuff. You know, he's trying to teach her how to basically be Hulk.
Yeah.
And she is basically given the ability to control it right off the bat. And the excuse the show gives for that ability is the fact that by nature of being a woman and having to live in a sexist society, she's been able to control her anger where a man doesn't have to control his anger.
Yeah. And so the thing about that in particular is seen is, you know, because this is a common thing that I've heard about that. And like when it happened, you know, I was watching and I saw people getting upset about it. Like, she can just automatically control her anger better. And I'm like, do you guys not realize that at some point in this season, she's going to, you know, this is going to be proven as hubris? Her being that overconfident about it. Which is exactly what like the next to last episode, she fucking hulked out and went nuts. And it's like, it's, you know, which is bizarre to me because like Tony Stark is allowed to be, you know, to be overconfident and arrogant and then have his arrogance bite him in his ass. And that's like just a character trait, I suppose. But when it comes to her, it's nope, not allowed. And another thing on
Tony Stark is his arrogance, though, is he's not saying like all men can do this kind of thing. He's saying I am great at doing this type of thing. She-Hulk is literally saying like all women have to, you know, control their anger in this way. So it's a much more political message.
But the show, the point of the show was that she was wrong in that moment. She didn't have all under control, and she needed to listen to Bruce a bit more. That was the point of that moment.
And I also just reject the idea that a woman's perspective is political.
Well, no, it wouldn't be because she's a woman, the perspective is political. It'd be by making it based on like all women have X quality and women have X quality. That would be.
I mean, I don't think it was making such a you know, declarative like statement in that way. That
well, I mean, she framed it that way in that scene. But it's interesting that you said that you think that the audience is supposed to take that as her being, you know, egotistical.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was supposed to be taken because it's the beginning of her arc.
See, but that would be if that was the case, I think that would be interesting for her character. I don't agree that was the intention of the scene. Because
then why did it show? So it was just written and they forgot they wrote that scene so that whenever later on she did Hulk out and go nuts in public.
Well, when you say Hulk out, so let's compare. You know, you're talking about an episode, was it 9? I forget, where she like punches the TV screen. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, scared everybody out of the thing.
Right. So I think there's a substantial difference between like, you know, she gets angry because someone's gonna, you know, post a revenge porn video of her, and she punches the TV screen and kind of loses control for a couple, you know, seconds or a minute. And you compare that to like the Hulk, who before he was, you know, merged with Bruce Banner, he was just like literally couldn't really even talk or barely talk, would attack friend and foe, was completely blinded by rage, and was just like this rage monster. To me, I mean, these are two completely different things.
Well, they are, but for other reasons. Because for one thing, she didn't have nearly the gamma dose that he did. I mean, and maybe, you know, I don't know if I think it mentions this kind of offhand, but like I'm a old school comics fan, so it comes off clear to me. Like he got blasted with a huge dose of gamma, and she got a little bit of blood. Right. Another thing is that like the trauma thing you mentioned about her, everything he'd been through. It's so you know, I've got some experience in you know, trauma recovery, trauma counseling. It's weird when people try to like measure trauma. Like it's really bizarre to me because, you know, two people can have the exact same thing happen and one of them take it one way and the other take it the other, and it can be much more debilitating for one or the other. So it's like it was weird to me when people saying that just because he'd had certain things happen or whatever, that he was just inherently going to have more I don't know. It's just a bunch of weird claims that weren't made in the text.
That was her claim, though, in the scene. That was literally her claim. That the trauma of being a woman granted her control.
But again, we're talking about the beginning of her arc. She's not going to get everything
not the trauma. It's not the trauma. It was the fact that she's had to deal with repressing, you know, certain. And you talk to women, man. I've talked to several of them, and they said, yeah, that's similar to. You know, they've been sexually harassed a lot, and you know what I mean. It is something that you
look. I have a question.
You have to kind of.
I have a question for you. So, like a clear way to see that it's political is that she's espousing a belief. Like she's espousing a belief that the world is a certain way and treats women a certain way. Like if the scene played out where she said, listen, I'm used to dealing with anger because I'm a Christian, and Christians always face massive amount of anger and hatred in society. You would obviously say that's a political statement, right?
Well, why are we
use
equating a way a person is born to a belief a person chooses?
Right. Well, and also, I just don't know why, like, we're this default mode of like political bad, as if their politics didn't exist.
That's a completely different. That's a completely different argument. Yeah.
Right. We weren't saying we hadn't got to the point of whether political messaging in TV shows was good or bad. It was just I said originally that kind of got us on the sidetrack was when people said She-Hulk was woke, they were talking about what they perceived as politics that they disagreed with ingrained in the show.
As the same way as, if somebody forced, Christianity into the show, the Hulk, you would have a bunch of people online going, oh my God, the Christians are trying to convert people. The Christians are trying to like.
Would be, but I personally would be like, this has nothing to do with anything in the comics that has come before, and I don't like this because of that. Whereas like the show pretty much nailed it. It's one of the most accurate adaptations in the MCU.
Maybe because the politics are kind of invisible to you in the same way that they're
not invisible. I mean, not in the way. I just think that they're not invisible. I see what you are describing as politics, and I just see it as something. It's a different perspective that's not historically been front and center in popular media, and that's really the distinction that's being called political, in my view, and somehow that's a bad thing.
I think WandaVision is a good example of people seeing wokeness in it because, they would look at the show and they'd say, okay, you have a show where basically the male characters who are more stereotypically masculine are portrayed as evil. You have the evil masculine military general guy, even though he's technically doing the right thing. He's trying to stop, Wanda, who's basically being completely evil. And then the men that are considered more good are classically, I hate to use these terms, but are more stereotypically, passive or female in terms of kind of their characteristics. And the way that the show basically coddled Wanda, and they even had like a character, I forget her name, it was Captain Marvel character's daughter, enters in the show and basically make excuses for the fact that Wanda is, basically being a horrible villain, mind controlling, all these people and inflicting horrible pain on them. And when this is called out by the show gives this excuse in the dialogue of like, well, you don't know how much Wanda has lost, as an excuse. And it seems like there's like just this weird attitude towards, gender roles in some of the MCU properties that I think people are picking up on.
I would kind of disagree with a lot of that read.
That's a weird read of WandaVision. I've actually never heard that read before, so it's taking me a moment.
I have a little bit. I've kind of got into it with somebody about it, but like the idea that, I don't think that the show excuses what she's done. The show, and very clearly, when you follow up with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, that was just the beginning of this arc where she's going, she's losing it. She lost it, dude. Like she is the villain in Doctor Strange. That was just kind of
I'm not saying that, obviously, but it's a different writer, different director.
But I mean, it was a plan.
WandaVision was pretty much set up to be like her villain origin story almost.
Right, and also, it's like to say it's evil. If you want to call it that, that's a way to judge it.
Well, sure, I know you don't like the word evil, but immoral, whatever word you want.
It's definitely immoral. Definitely immoral. Definitely fucked up. I don't think the show at all or anybody is excusing that she mind controlled a bunch of people and stuff like that. I think what it was doing was approaching it with a sense of empathy for her mental state, which is different than if she was literally evil and deciding I'm gonna fucking do this evil shit. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't like a villainous intent. It was she didn't fully understand what she was doing, and then once she did, she was just kind of so lost in it. And like I think that's actually a reflection of how sometimes people with mental health issues are treated in the real world. I think that's more what it was commenting on than any kind of gender thing. And also Vision, Vision, he was kind of just moping around a lot when he was in the show, but at the end he had a badass fight with the other Vision. So I don't agree that he was just like not doing anything manly or whatever, but he's a robot, so maybe it shouldn't apply. As I've said before, how is it objective if we disagree?
True. Watch their head explode.
I mean, seriously, are you saying that people who disagree with what you claim to be an objective take on a movie, are they insane? Are they below intelligence level that's worth considering? What is it? Can you explain to me what about those people?
You just don't understand good writing.
Did they understand good writing? Because what it seems to me, when it comes to those types, and you know who we're talking about, these YouTubers who try to use objectivity as their framework, it seems to me like they're post hoc rationalizing, they're basically their emotional and instinctive reactions to something. Didn't like Last Jedi because maybe did something that they didn't think Star Wars should do. Okay, fine. But then in hindsight, then they have to make 4-5 hour, videos, streams, talk, like basically just figuring out ways to justify this.